What's up, everybody? Dakota Collins here with Discover Breathe. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday night. I sure am. I've got my little baby Kovu right here, and we're ready to kick it off with an awesome pulse tonight. September has come and gone, and we're entering into October. I don't know about you guys, but this season sure is feeling nice. The colors are beautiful. Right now, I'm streaming from beautiful Eagle, Colorado. But enough about me for tonight. We've got a special guest, Carly Feldmeyer. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on now. What's up, Carly?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am stoked. Look, we've got Junie in the background over here, too. She's tuning in for this one.
Aww.
So, do you want to tell everybody what it is we are going to be doing tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Carly, like Dakota mentioned. I'm a holistic nutritionist and herbal medicine maker in Chicago, and I'm really passionate about kind of just teaching people how to connect with the healing power of nature. So tonight we're going to be doing just that, and we're going to be making 5 herbal remedies that are super simple, easy to make with really accessible ingredients found at your grocery stores and in your spice cabinets and gardens and things. So I'm excited to jump in.
Awesome. So for everybody that doesn't know, we've got these awesome little packets here, our ingredient list. And so I'm going to be following along tonight. I'm going to see if I'm going to be able to do any of these things correctly too. So we'll see how mine turn out, but really looking forward to this. So for people that maybe didn't see this ingredient list beforehand, don't worry. This video is going to be recorded. So when you've got the ingredients, you can come back, reference this, and make it again with Carly. So, but for tonight, let's just sit back, relax, and see what you've got. Yeah?
Sounds great. Cool. Thank you.
Before I let you loose, everybody tuning in, this is a Breathe Pulse. We are live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. We try and bring in new things every week. If you've got an idea, something you're passionate about, or something you want to share with the community, get in touch with us. DiscoverBreathe.com. Check out our pulses. We've got a good schedule of pulses, always changing, always diverse. So we get cool stuff like this. So thank you very much, Carly.
Thanks.
I'm going to send it all over to you now.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Thanks,
one last thing.
I appreciate it.
For anybody that's watching this live, type a comment. If you've got a question, I can go ahead and throw it up on the screen. We'll let Carly check it out. Maybe she'll be able to answer it. All right. See you in a bit.
Thanks. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Like I said, my name's Carly, and I'm a holistic nutritionist and herbal medicine maker, and I love doing things like this. The kind of intention behind this kind of evening is to just empower folks with some information and some super simple recipes to be able to make herbal medicine at home and have really potent medicine that doesn't require, a fancy degree or, a cabinet full of fancy herbs, just some simple things that are really accessible and available to you. And I love just sharing this information with folks and really just kind of seeing them light up with how awesome and how powerful food is and herbs are and plants are, and just how easy it all is to make. So thank you for joining me today. If you didn't see the ingredient list on the post, that's totally fine. If you want to just listen along, that's cool. Also, if you're joining in and you're ready to make some things with me and you don't have all the ingredients, it's totally fine. We can still make really potent medicine with just a few ingredients. So without further ado, I'll kind of introduce you to the remedies that we'll be making tonight. We're making 5 different remedies, and we're going to be packing it all into this hour. So we'll get started real quick. But our 5 remedies can be kind of divided up into 2 different types of categories. We have our fast medicine. So that'll be the medicine that is quick we can use tonight and only takes a couple minutes to an hour and a half. And then we have our slow medicines. So things that need to sit and infuse and hang out in the cabinet for a month and a half or so. So we'll be making both of those types of medicines tonight. So our remedies that we're going to be making, we're going to be making ginger chews and ginger syrup. We're going to be making fire cider. We're going to be making fermented garlic honey cough syrup. We're also going to be making a throat spray. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all of our remedies. So our fast medicines are going to be our ginger chews, ginger syrups, and our herbal throat spray. And our slow medicines are going to be our fermented garlic honey cough syrup and our fire cider. Okay, so let's get started. Some of the things need to be infusing for a bit of time, so we can just jump right in. What we'll first be making is our ginger chews and ginger syrup. So what you'll need is you'll need your ginger knob, some honey, some water, and a pot to get everything going. You'll also need a strainer and a little bit, and also a plate with a piece of parchment paper, but we'll get there. Let's just start with the ginger and a cutting board. So I love ginger chews and ginger syrup. Number one, because it's a recipe that it happens to make two amazing, delicious things and just in one recipe, which I love. But let's start with just slicing our ginger pretty thin. So I'll show you kind of where I'm at with that and what a thin piece looks like. You know, like a little bit thicker than a piece of paper, you know, kind of like a coin, like a dime would be a good example for that. So we'll just get slicing here. And we'll slice it a fair bit of pieces. And so ginger is really fantastic. So the kind of like theme of these herbal remedies is, you know, immune support and boosting our immunity. And, you know, now is a really important time for us to focus on that more than ever. And ginger is just a really incredible, powerful plant that is specifically potently antiviral. And she's antiviral in a couple different ways. She's antiviral, like the fresh ginger root, what we're using today. We will be cooking it down, so it won't be quite the same. But if you were to make like ginger juice or, you know, use fresh ginger in a recipe, it actually can kill viruses on contact. So really excellent when we're using fresh ginger. When we consume the ginger, she also helps boost our antiviral immunity naturally. So really excellent kind of dual action for antiviral magic that is in ginger. And I always like to tell folks if they, like during this workshop or something, if they bought too much ginger, if you made, you know, a recipe and you have too much ginger, you know, blend up some ginger juice. You can even use it with like, you know, do it with like a regular blender, blend it up with some water, and then freeze it as ice cubes. And then you can just pop those in your water or in a tea or anything, and you're getting that fresh ginger medicine, you know, and you don't have to have it on hand and make it quickly. So just a little tip for that. But ginger is also a warming and a drying herb, which is really excellent when we're talking about the viral infection that we're dealing with right now. Because what we, you know, see a lot in folks is cold and dampness, the cold and dampness energetics in their body. And that kind of looks like your pneumonia, right? That phlegm, that mucus that gets stuck in our lungs, and our immune system isn't able to move that along or get rid of it. So what ginger does is she stimulates our immune system. She stimulates our lymph to get moving to the places that really need it. And also she helps dry out that mucus and also move it up and out. So she's an expectorant, which means she can move that mucus up and out of our bodies looking like a productive cough, which is really excellent for pneumonia specifically. So she's magical, really, really awesome. And this recipe is so great because it's perfect for kids, right? Sometimes it's hard for, you know, moms and dads and parents in general to get nourishing foods in their kids, and I totally understand that. This is a really awesome, tasty, delicious recipe that kids kind of feel like they're having candy, and it's boosting their immune system, which is really excellent. And this recipe actually, it doesn't use any refined sugar. There are ginger chew recipes that have a bit of refined sugar in there, which can actually hurt our immune system and decrease our immunity. But since we're using honey, we don't see that. So I have, about 20 or so pieces here. I'm not going to use the whole thing, but 20 or so pieces, my little ginger juice. And I have a small saucepan here, and I'm going to put those at the bottom of the pot. And I'm going to use equal parts water to honey. Okay, so I have 1/3 of a cup of water here, so I'm going to add that to the pot. And then I'm going to use the equal parts honey. So honey is really magical in itself. It's medicinal in itself. People also often think, wait, sweetness, medicinal, how is that? But honey is really excellent. It has actually immune supportive bacteria in it, especially if you get the raw kind. If you don't have access to raw, or if it's too expensive, I totally get it. That's fine. There's actually still bacteria in there. Are they live like they would be in the raw? No, but they're the bacteria that has died because of the heat still is beneficial to our immune system. So it's still really great medicine. And we are going to be heating it up too. So if you're using raw, that bacteria won't necessarily make it through, but it will still be beneficial for our immune system, which makes it a really excellent sweetener when we are talking about immunity and supporting our immune system. Okay, so I have the honey, I have the water, and the ginger in the pot, and we're gonna stir that around a bit, and we are going to get it to a low simmer. And then what we're gonna do, ooh, do I have my cat here? We're gonna top it, we're gonna cover it, and just kind of let it do its thing. We're gonna let it simmer for a half hour, maybe 25 minutes. We'll probably do, just so we don't run the time. But if you slice it thin enough, you won't have to simmer it for quite as long. So I sliced mine pretty thin, and so we'll do about 25 minutes. Okay. So while that's simmering, we can get started on our next remedy, which is really awesome. Okay. So next we're going to be making the herbal cough spray. So today I'm going to be using echinacea and thyme, but I know that on the little packet and the ingredient list I sent you, I have sage on there. Sage is excellent. It's usually one that's easy to find in a grocery store. So if you have any of those herbs, even if you just have one, totally fine. Dried is best in this case. Dried happens, to be a little bit more potent with the medicine that they have to offer when we're making an herbal or a water extraction, which is what we're going to be doing. So the first step to making this herbal cough spray is to make a tea, which we make all the time, and it's very cool that it's such an easy thing to do. So we're gonna measure out a half cup of water, which I have here. I'm just gonna dump it in here. Measure. We're gonna measure out a half cup of water, and you can either boil this on on a stovetop. I have like a little electric tea kettle that's pretty quick, and I love it for that. So I'm gonna boil my water in my electric tea kettle. And while that's going, I'm gonna measure out my herbs. So I have a little bit of thyme left, probably about a teaspoon. I'm gonna use the whole thing. So I'll just put that into my bowl. And I also have some echinacea here that I'm gonna use, but again, sage works wonderfully. I'm gonna do a tablespoon of that. You could do a tablespoon of thyme, you could do a tablespoon of sage, you could do a tablespoon of both, but I'm gonna do one of each there. Okay, so we're using thyme. Again, people think that a lot of folks underestimate the power of these herbs that are just, culinary herbs that are just like in our spice cabinets or something. And they're potent, they're powerful. Thyme in particular is excellent, again, for, supporting your lung health, for especially folks with pneumonia, for moving along that phlegm, that mucus that we can see building up in the lungs, and really moving that up and out. It can help us. She can help us breathe better. She really is supportive to lung functioning and lung health, lung immunity specifically. Echinacea is the same, very much antiviral, which is really excellent for this viral infection that we're dealing with right now, but also for cold and flu season that's coming up. So when we have our water boiling, we're just going to pour it over, just like you would a normal tea. Okay, and we're going to let it infuse for at least 20 minutes. Okay, so Our ginger chews have a timer for about 20 minutes. So that's going to work perfectly. We'll know to strain it then. But what we do with hot water pulls out the water-soluble constituents in the herbs and makes a really potent, powerful tea when we use water. So this is going to be the first half of our herbal spray. I love the herbal spray because you can use it so quickly. You can pop it in a spray bottle and bring it around with you. You know, if you're going out to the grocery store and whatever, you feel like you've, you know, had some type of exposure, what have you, that is an excellent ally just to have on board. You can put it in your car. You can keep it around anywhere. So really excellent. I love it. Super easy to make, right? Okay, so let that infuse for a little bit. When our timer goes off for 20 minutes, we'll finish it up. Okay, see how quick this is? I mean, we've been talking for like 5 minutes and we already have 2 things making, which is, you know, in the make, which is really awesome. Okay, so next we're gonna do our fermented honey cough syrup. Okay, so with this, such an easy remedy to make. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be like, are you kidding me? This is the only steps. It's really excellent, it's so easy. What you'll need is you'll need your head of garlic and a, I have an old honey jar with some honey at the bottom of it, which is perfect because we need a bunch of honey. So it's wonderful. So I have an old honey jar, just whatever jar you're using. If, you know, I like using a smaller jar because I can fill it with the garlic. If you have a lot of garlic, you know, use a bigger jar, just kind of, you know, whatever to your needs, what you have on hand works perfectly. Okay, so we're gonna start by just breaking off some cloves, and we're gonna wanna peel the cloves. You're gonna wanna fill the jar, whatever jar you have, halfway. You could make a huge batch of this and have like 3 heads of garlic and make like a massive jar of this cough syrup, which is cool and great, and you'd have it on hand. But yeah, so we're gonna start with just, you know, cracking our garlic here, smashing it, and peeling it to put into the jar. So this fermented garlic cough syrup is really incredible. What happens with fermentation is we're basically feeding the good bacteria that are present in the honey, that are present in the garlic, and we are feeding those bacteria, and those bacteria will grow and proliferate. And when we consume those bacteria, they're incredibly supportive for supporting our immune system. And a lot of folks, you know, gut health has been a thing that's been really popular lately. And that is because we have bacteria that live in our gut. And when we have, woo! Sorry, my ginger shoes are getting a little feisty over here. Excuse me. But so our gut is filled with bacteria. And when we have a healthy gut flora, healthy gut bacteria, we have a healthy immune system. So when we eat things with really great bacteria, with supportive bacteria that are beneficial for our gut, beneficial for our immune system, we see a really wonderful, healthy, active immune system. So we're supporting that when we eat fermented foods in general. Fermentation also makes the medicine in garlic very, oh my gosh, goodness. Kind of crack that. Fermentation makes the medicine in garlic really accessible for our bodies. So garlic is a magical food that has so many different medicinal compounds in there. But as do all vegetables in the allium family, like onion, we'll talk about in a second, scallions, different chives and things, those are all in the allium family. They all share similar characteristics when we're talking about medicine and food. But garlic in particular is incredible for supporting the cardiovascular system. So she helps lower cholesterol, she helps lower blood pressure, really excellent for preventing and treating cardiovascular disease. So she's excellent for that. She is also excellent for killing bacteria, killing the bad bacteria that, you know, pathogens that hurt our immune system, that cause illness in our bodies. She's incredibly antiviral. She is supportive for our neurological health, so our brain health. She's incredible, incredible. Okay, so a lot going on in garlic. I want to get a little bit more. But what I really like about using allies like garlic in these kinds of remedies, especially with the viral infection we're seeing a lot right now, and just in general, really, when we have food allies and herbal allies that support those kind of like those really prevalent chronic illnesses like cardiovascular disease. We're really kind of getting to the root cause of the issues, the health concerns that we're seeing that's making this viral infection that we're seeing so scary and potentially lethal, is those underlying conditions. So it's really important to have food allies and herbal allies that are supportive to those conditions as well, and making sure that we're not forgetting about those amongst the craziness of the pandemic too. Okay, so we have that. We have our garlic. It's filled about halfway. And watch how easy it is. We're going to just pour our honey on top of that. And that's it. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's all you do. But the magic that's going to happen with this remedy is we are going to allow it. We're going to put a cap on nice and tight. We're going to allow this to sit in the cabinet in a cool, dark place for 6 weeks. Okay, and that's when the fermentation is going to happen. An absolutely essential step that you do during this process, you can't just forget about it. Okay, put it next to like your peanut butter or like your favorite food that you have in the cabinet that you reach for like every single day. Oh, this is in the background. You need to burp this. And what burping is it's simply just twisting the cap. And when something is fermenting, it produces a lot of gas. So by twisting the cap, you're going to release that gas. You will literally hear a pop. Especially like in the first week, you're going to hear a bunch of the fermentation happening. That is a good thing. That means your bacteria is growing. That means the medicine is being extracted into the honey from the garlic. All really, really, really excellent things happening. So don't be like freaked out. Don't be afraid. That's totally natural. So we're going to make sure we're going to do that, or you're going to have a really sticky mess and sharp mess in your cabinet. So making sure that we do that. You can also turn it over and flip it over. That's going to help coat the garlic with honey and help the fermentation process and just coating that whole surface area. So like I mentioned, really awesome remedy. When this is ready to go, you can take a teaspoon to 3 teaspoons a day. That is going to be your decision. Use your intuition for that. Also, a kid-friendly remedy too, a really tasty one, but not for children under the age of 1. That's really important. They cannot have honey. But for kids who, don't like I kind of mentioned before, other immune supportive things like eating nourishing foods, this could be a really nice ally that's sweet and tasty for them to consume, which is great. It's a little funky, but it's good. It's a little garlicky, but it's really tasty. Okay, so we're all set with this. This one's completely done. Okay, so we're flying through this. I mean, it's so easy, right? We just like need 3 remedies in 10 minutes. How awesome is that? So I'm gonna tap that again. Okay, so let's move on to our fire cider. Oh my gosh, I'm making a huge mess. Lots of garlic peels. Okay, so for our fire cider, you will need your cutting board and things. You're gonna need a jar. So a jar that you can fill to the top. If you, oh my goodness, this is Moose. Come on, Moose. A jar that can fill to the top. If you only have some ingredients, that's totally fine, but use a jar that's smaller. Okay, I have like so much fire cider right now. I'm only going to use a little jar. And what else you'll need your apple cider vinegar, whichever kind you have, totally great. Onion, your citrus fruit. Ah! My ginger chews are going crazy. Your citrus fruit, your garlic, your jalapeno, ginger, turmeric, horseradish. Literally, if you have any of that, you're in good shape. Folks often make, fire cider with just onion or just garlic, and it's potent medicine, very potent medicine. So, oh my gosh, this stuff's going crazy. Thanks. What a mess. Okay, that's my favorite part about being in the kitchen is just making a mess. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started chopping, and we'll kind of just jabber about the different awesome medicines that are in each food while we're making it. I don't have horseradish on hand, and I don't have turmeric on hand. But what's cool about fire cider is if you're like, shoot, I really want those things after hearing about the medicine in them, you can go to the grocery store the next day, leave a little bit of space in your jar, and pop them in there. Like this is totally fine. You're still gonna get, even if you do it a week later, you're still gonna have really potent medicine. And so there's no rules there. Okay, so let's start with our onion. I'm gonna use about a half of an onion, but you can totally use more. This is not an exact science. What I love about fire cider is you make it your own. Like it is a blank canvas for your creativity, for what you have access to, for what you have at home. It's a beautiful open blank canvas in that sense. Okay, so we're starting with onion. Onion is amazing. It's a food that we just use so like almost mindlessly, but not mindlessly in the sense that it's like a bad thing, but just in a way that like we just don't even know that we have medicine just in like almost all of our recipes, But onion is in the allium family, just like garlic. So all of those things that I mentioned about being antiviral and antibacterial, she has it. She's incredibly supportive to the cardiovascular system, just like garlic. So she helps lower our cholesterol. She helps can lower our blood pressure. She's supportive to things like testosterone. She's just incredible, amazing. But very much antibacterial and antiviral, anti-inflammatory, which is a reason why we are using her today in this remedy. So we're just roughly chopping. Oh, we can't see what I'm doing. We're just roughly chopping, and we're putting her in the jar. Okay, so onion, really awesome. Okay. Next we'll do ginger. So ginger, again, is just insanely wonderful for all things kind of just respiratory illness, not just the current virus that we're dealing with, but for colds, for flus, really excellent remedy, food to have on hand in those situations. But it's also cool to do different extraction methods, because they all offer different things. Like for this one, we're doing a water extraction, right? We had water in there, and we're doing honey extraction, so a lot of water soluble compounds in there. But now we're doing a vinegar extraction, so you're going to get different medicine offered, in this type of extraction. So it's cool to do different types of things. And then maybe you'll do a tea, and that'll be different. And maybe you'll do an alcohol extract, and those are just all offer different things. So it's cool to combine medicines in that way, or just try different medicines and have more holistic types of remedies that you're making, so that you can work with the plant on different levels and get what she offers on a whole different spectrum, which is beautiful and what I think herbalism is all about. Okay, so we have our ginger in there. We'll do jalapeno. Jalapeno will make it spicy, but most of her medicine is in the seeds. So if you can deal with it, I would say keep some seeds, not all, but some seeds in there. I'm going to do probably like a quarter of the jalapeno with some seeds left in there. So jalapeno is amazing. Jalapeno has capsaicin in there, which is a very anti-inflammatory, pain-relieving, warming, very warming compound in there. So she helps with pain relief, which is, if we all know how a flu feels and you have body aches all over the place, jalapeno can be a great ally for that. The capsaicin in there can be super warming, super comforting and wonderful. If you have cayenne peppers and you want to do cayenne peppers, she offers a very similar medicine, very warming, very pain relieving, because a lot because of that warming, stimulating, bringing nourishing new blood to the area, and offering pain relief in that way. Okay, Okay, so jalapeno is great. Offers something a little bit different. You might notice that we're using a lot of like warming elements in these remedies, which, is really, we see a lot of the kind of like anti-inflammatory properties in the warming foods. So if you have like a ridiculously hot constitution, like you're hot all the time, you have redness in your face, like you're kind of agitated and very like fast moving all the time, fire cider might be a thing that a remedy that might be a little bit aggravating to that. So I think that this can be a remedy that's good for a lot of folks. But for folks who are like really hot constitution, or if you're familiar with Ayurveda, have a lot of pitta, a lot of fire, digestive fire, this remedy might be one that you use not on a daily basis. You use only when needed, kind of, not as much as somebody who struggles with like a cold constitution. Okay, next is our citrus fruit. So I have orange here, personal preference. Lemon works excellent here too. I haven't tried lime, but not as familiar with lime, the medicine in lime, but I'm sure you could use it. But what's cool, what we'll do, I'm going to use about a half of like a half of an orange. We'll want to leave the peel on. And with citrus fruit, lemon and orange and grapefruit and things, they have their essential oils, so their volatile oils in their peels. And that is going to be extremely antimicrobial. Okay, so like that's why you can use lemon and stuff for like cleaning, because it's so antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial. Okay, so we'll want to leave the peel on there for that reason in particular. And also, it's cool to use mineral-rich foods and herbs when we're talking about vinegar extraction, because vinegar is excellent at pulling out the minerals that. The minerals that we see that we have in food. Okay. So we're gonna put our orange in there, or lemon, or whatever you have and are interested in using. I'm getting full here. Probably should have used a bigger jar. That's okay. Okay. So yeah, here if you have like turmeric is excellent to add into. Turmeric is incredibly anti-inflammatory, like seriously one of the most anti-inflammatory foods that we have access to. Very much a potent food. Going to be warming, going to be pungent and drying, just like ginger. So excellent for moving lymph around, reducing our inflammation, supporting our cardiovascular disease. Really potent for supporting our brain health. Again, getting at kind of those root causes, those kind of like underlying conditions that can make, a sudden viral infection like a flu or the viral infection we're dealing with right now be kind of, a more severe thing. Adding foods in like turmeric can help and be supportive, especially over time, when we're talking about like getting at that root cause. Turmeric, excellent. Also horseradish. I love horseradish. Oh my gosh, I'm like obsessed with it. I've learned from making fire cider. It's that hot and that pungency. Again, that moves lymph. That movement of lymph is really important. If you have ever heard of like Wim Hof method or anything that we're, even just like submerging our bodies in cold water, that's kind of the similar lymph movement that you see in something like horseradish. That lymph movement helps those immune cells get to different parts of the bodies and help fight off the infection quicker, and a lot of other amazing things. But horseradish does have that lymph stimulating property, which makes it an excellent and I think tasty remedy. A lot of people think that like, if you crave something like a weird thing like horseradish, your body is probably asking for it. I'm a huge believer in that. So the more horseradish, the better, I think. Okay, cool. So our timer just went off. So let's pause the fire cider for just a second. I'm gonna pull my top off of my ginger chews, and geez Louise, I might not need much time here. What you're gonna be looking for in your ginger chews is thickening that's gonna be happening. And that's especially going to happen when you take your lid off. Mine's a little bit on a higher heat just because it's a bigger burner. But when we see that thickening, that syrup is starting to form, it's becoming more concentrated. That water's evaporating. And we'll also want to just be, periodically checking to see if our ginger chews are getting soft. We want them really soft. Ooh, mine are getting there. I'm going to leave it for like 5 more minutes. with the top off. You might need more time, that's fine, or less time, but that's almost done. Okay, so we'll finish up our fire cider before we get to that. Also, our water extraction for our herbal spray is almost done too. We'll get to that in a sec. Again, these aren't like specific time ranges, like it just doesn't work like that. The longer you let it sit is actually more medicine can be pulled from it and things, so that's really fine. But let's finish up our fire cider. Okay, so I have thyme here. I'm gonna chop it up a little bit, but I'm gonna leave it on the stem. The stem has medicine to offer too. Like I mentioned, thyme is so excellent for, she has that expectorant property, that movement of that congestion, that movement of lymph, that kind of like anti-pneumonia action in there. So excellent. Such an accessible herb. You can get fresh, you can get dried at most grocery stores, which is really excellent. Okay, so I put a bit, like a handful. I'll pop that in there. Rosemary is also excellent. Has a lot of antimicrobial properties to her, also neuroprotective and wonderful other antioxidant capabilities in there too, which makes it excellent. If you're, more of an herbalist that has things on hand, astragalus is also an excellent herb to add in. It has that kind of like lung supportive action in there, that immune support there too. Tulsi, another one, excellent for just kind of like an adaptogenic kind of full body support there too. So I like adding those in also if you have those on hand. But for now, this is all set. If you have, I want to add, and I'm just thinking of this now, I want to add some coriander seed to there. Coriander seed, I like her most for just kind of supporting the digestive qualities in fire cider. Fire cider is, when I think of fire cider, it is an immune supportive remedy, but what's awesome about fire cider, it is so supportive to our digestive system, helping our body break down and utilize, break down and absorb nutrients in our food. So many people struggle with hypochlorhydria, which is not having enough stomach acid. Fire cider is an excellent remedy for that. Boosts our stomach acid, which is so important for all of the downstream digestion to happen. So coriander can be just an excellent aid in digesting. Also, she's carminative, so she can help break down gas and all that good stuff too. Okay, if you have turmeric in here, I would put peppercorns, or even if you have like black pepper in there. Black pepper helps our bodies absorb the awesome compounds that are in turmeric too. Okay, cool. So we have our jar. We have our apple cider vinegar. It's best if you have the raw with the mother. The mother is the bacterial colony in there that can be supportive to our immune system, similar to the bacteria that is in honey, can be supportive of our immune system. If you don't have raw, it's totally fine. It'll work just great. Whatever you have, we're going to pour it over just like that and fill it to the tippy top. Okay. And fire cider is one of those things that it's nice to plan for, right? I would say this is like the latest time that I would want to make fire cider, just so we have it on hand. We're also making all these warming remedies like fire cider, and it's great to like enter into a really cool, cold season like fall and winter that can help just warm our bodies internally too and stoke our internal fire. So fire cider is one of those. That's why it's really good to be kind of thinking about, our medicines ahead of time. Okay, so we have our fire cider here. We're filled to the tippy top. You want a piece of parchment or wax paper works best, but parchment paper works too. We're going to cover the jar and then just put the top on. And with these remedies, the garlic syrup included, you'll want to write the date on there, just so you don't forget, or like I would just write the date on there just because even if you like set an alarm on your phone to straighten it out, it's good to just know when these are done. But these pretty much never expire, which is really cool. Like I just strained out some fire cider that I've had in the back of my cabinet since like April, And it's perfect. It's fine. Vinegar is so preserving. So is honey. That fermented garlic honey. If you're like making a huge batch, it'll last you a long time. Okay, and it won't go bad, which is great. Okay, so those are done. Yeah. Okay, our ginger syrup and our chews are done also. So we're gonna let that cool down a bit before we strain it out. Okay, so that is gonna sit for a sec on the back of the stove. Okay, so we're gonna wait to strain that off just for a second. Let's finish up our throat spray. Let's finish up that really quick. Okay, so I have, where's my, here it is. So you'll want, I like a measuring cup just so you can put it into the jar of choice afterwards, or a spray bottle of choice. But you'll want your measuring cup, and you'll want your strainer, which is right here. I have a little strainer like this. You just pop it on top, and we'll just pour that over and strain out the herb. Okay, you can just kind of like press out the water that's in the herbs too. Just get all that medicine out of there. Okay. And you can just compost these or do whatever you'd like to do with those. And then, so you have your liquid here. Another part that makes it, more antiviral and antibacterial is adding alcohol. If alcohol isn't your thing, totally fine. Stop here, or you can add some salt in there too, which makes it just as, very nicely antiviral and antibacterial too. I will say that the alcohol makes it more shelf stable, which is another benefit of adding it too. But I don't know if this is a well-known thing. I think generally is, but alcohol is like a main ingredient in hand sanitizer. It's you can make your own hand sanitizer with alcohol because it's so antimicrobial. So it's really excellent in that way. It's really well used, or widely used in that sense. So it's cool when we can use it kind of in this way too. So you can add as much. I would add at least about half as amount. Half the amount of liquid that you have in there, just so it stays nice and shelf stable. You can add as much up to like a 1-for-1 ratio of your tea to your alcohol. And boom, we're done, right? So easy. This is ready to go. So you can keep it in a jar like this for using it as a gargle, but you can also pop it in a spray bottle and use it as a spray too. So different uses, both equally as great. Oh, this might be a little bit too small of a jar for this. That's okay. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll date it and everything. But this is also with the alcohol, it makes it very shelf stable. If you didn't use the alcohol, I would pop it in the fridge, and it's not going to last as long. It might last a month if you're lucky. Just use your nose for that. So use your nose to see if it smells okay. Especially if we're using it internally, we want to make sure that there isn't anything growing in there. Okay, so this is all ready to go. Great. Our last thing is we're going to strain out our ginger chews and our ginger syrup and finish that up. Okay, so we'll just kind of like take a fork and just space out the ginger evenly onto your parchment paper. And what you have left is your ginger syrup. Okay, so what we'll do with these is we'll leave them to sit on the counter overnight. We'll leave them to sit on the counter overnight. And what happens then is it dries it a little bit. If you have a dehydrator, that works excellently too. But just let them sit over the night and let them dry up before you have one. And that just helps kind of make it a little less sticky. Some people have they'll take like raw sugar or something, and they'll dunk these in there, so it's a little bit less sticky and very tasty when you do that. But you're adding sugar in. That's your thing. That's totally fine. You don't have to do that. But some folks also do something like chili powder, which sounds really tasty on these too, which is great. So you can do a bunch of stuff. I like it just straight up. And these have honestly like sat on my kitchen counter for like a week, and they're totally fine. They don't, they stay good. You can also, you can put them in the fridge. They'll last a really long time in the fridge if you do that. Also, the syrup that you have, the amazing syrup that you have left over, is shelf stable in itself. So you can just pop that in a jar and have it on your kitchen table whenever you would like it. It is excellent. My favorite thing to do with it is make blueberry compote out of it, which is you just put like blueberries and a little bit of water at the bottom of a pot. You boil them for a little bit, make them, nice and soft, mash them up with a fork, and then add a healthy serving of ginger syrup. The most amazing compote ever. You can put it on toast, you can put it on pancakes, you can put it in oatmeal or whatever, and it is amazing. So good. That's my favorite thing to do with it by far. But you can also add it to tea, you can add it to coffee, you can do whatever you'd like. You can just take little spoonfuls of it, which is another favorite of mine to do. Really versatile thing. So that is it. You just made 5 remedies in like 30 minutes, which is really cool and super easy, relatively inexpensive. And, my favorite herbalist, April Granahan, always says that you're smart enough to do this. Like she always says that in all the things that she makes. And it's like, oh my gosh, you are. You just made really potent medicine, easily. So that's why I love this, this kind of workshop so much, because you just made some really awesome things, and it's really easy to do. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, follow me. That'd be great. Let's stay connected. You can check out my Instagram. Also, my website is nurturingthroughnature.org. Oh, there it is. And, see when we have more events going on. And I also do like a lot of live videos on Instagram and things. I do like a tea talk every Wednesday or Thursday, and do kind of like a podcast thing with different health professionals. I also do a lot of like foraging stuff and medicinal recipes and things on social media too. So let's stay connected, and thank you so much for joining me this evening, and thank you to Breathe for having me and everything. I appreciate it.
Voila. What's up?
Yeah.
Holy moly, that is great. So my favorite part about all of it is what a cost-effective solution to awesome medicine, right?
I mean, seriously, all this stuff, I bought everything pretty much today. I mean, I had jars and stuff on hand, but like you can use spaghetti jars, like you don't have to buy those things. I mean, like $20 for multiple servings of different remedies to have on hand. I mean, that's pretty great. So it's really cost effective.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to share with all my family members, and maybe just be like a fall habit. We all get together and we make some herbal remedies.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. Like such a fun family friend thing to do. I love it. That's cool.
Well, let's open it up. Let's see if anybody's got any questions for you.
Yeah.
If not, in the meantime, we can just keep talking. So how long have you been doing stuff like this?
I've been in business for just about 2 years now. So fresh out. I was in Portland for a while doing a graduate degree, and I moved back about 2 years ago and started my business, and have been, making my way in the Chicago community, and connecting with a lot of folks, doing, personal shopping, and doing workshops and consultations and things in the meantime. So I'm very much at the beginning, but it's been a heck of a ride so far, and super fun to connect with folks like you guys who are really passionate about, health and stuff too. So
cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm just impressed about so much about every little thing, Like I've never learned so much about ginger or garlic. Like it's awesome.
For real. We see them in our recipes so often, right? But that's what I love about this field is let's discover that. Let's discover what's in our food, and not only what's in our food, but how we can best extract all those awesome compounds, and how we can connect with our food and even grow our food, and see what that looks like, or see what these plants look like in the wild and connect with that, and you know, teach folks how to make simple extractions. Like it's age old. It's a beautiful practice, and in our culture, we have been kind of disconnected to our food and the growing process and the medicine and that kind of thing. So it's such a cool field to start to learn about. Like, whoa, garlic is so awesome. Like, let's add like 8 cloves to a single serving and just like make our meals medicine. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I think people are making it pretty easy on us. I don't think you did such a good job. Nobody has any questions.
Cool. That's good. But yeah, if anybody, you know, ends
Good.
up having any questions, you can feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram or an email even, and I'm here for it, you know.
Cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, with that, guys, this is a Breathe Pulse. If you want to check out upcoming pulses, take this site for a tour. Check it out. While you're at it, maybe do one of these. Check us out on all of our socials. But most importantly, help Carly out.
Aw, thanks. Aw.
Well, thanks to everybody for another. Oh, did we get a comment? Oh, Danette, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. We will catch you next week on the Breathe Pulse, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Bye.